Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Where we're too lazy to come up with a segment for everyone, so we just put them all in one segment.
Brilliant writing, WWE.
Yeah, that last hour just felt like they were like, okay, let's do this.
A, an absolute wonderful go home show to Royal Rumble, arguably one of the biggest shows of the year. But hey, I'm Jess.
And I'm Johnny, and this was the weirdest episode of SmackDown
It
I've seen in a while.
it definitely was. It starts off well, right? So we have my
Oh yeah,
main man, Daniel Bryan, my pick, or was supposed to be my pick, but then you guys are gonna have to stay tuned for the prediction video. But he comes out and he talks about having climbed every single mountain possible in the WWE except for one, and that is to win the Royal Rumble match. And he kind of reminds us what it means to headline WrestleMania. He's done it before, right? Yeselmania. And
I remember that.
and he's willing to do anything to kind of have that opportunity once again, that one more shot, because he doesn't know how many more, Royal Rumbles or how many more WrestleManias he has in him.
That's true.
And
And then he's ready for anything, as he's saying, right? And then he gets interrupted. He also gives props to Alpha Academy for helping him
yes,
train. Like he's all ready, his hips
loosening
are
his
ready,
hips,
they're
yeah,
loose,
of course.
everything's good. But then we hear AJ Styles' music, and we're like, oh, okay, with
Isn't he
with
on Raw?
Omos. That's what we thought. And obviously, Brian has to ask, what are you doing here? And apparently, there's a quarterly brand to brand invitational. So I had no idea. I'm not sure if you did, but apparently that's a thing. And they're really going to milk that tonight, right?
Didn't get the memo. Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan goes straight to the point. He's ready to have a match against AJ. He wants to challenge him. But AJ's like, but you don't look like you're ready because he's out in casual clothes, right? And he even implies, like, are you a GM? I haven't been here in a while, so I'm not even sure. Um, Of course, he also shoves him as well, right? AJ does shove him right away, and then before Daniel Bryan can like get back on his feet and like get back in his face, Amos is there, and I also noticed that Amos had a big cut on his forehead. I wonder what that was.
Yeah. But
I,
Daniel Bryan does challenge him to a match, right?
yeah, and he does say if he's a man, he'll come out alone tonight and leave Omos behind. And AJ's walking away as this is happening. So, and Bryan also ends with saying basically, with or without Omos, he's going to kick AJ's ass tonight.
Yeah, and now we do have a very, very quick backstage interview. Kayla Braxton and Bailey, they briefly talk about Bianca Belair beating her during the obstacle course last week, and Bailey talks about watching her network special and how she likes to kind of run away. I guess she meant to say she ran away from adversity, right? But I do have to say, I did watch that special. It was quite something. It definitely made Bianca Belair look nothing but like just a super baby face, and I'm definitely ready for Bianca Belair to possibly win the Royal Rumble. But Bailey does put the she does end the interview by saying that when she does beat Bianca up next, Bianca can go crawl into the darkest hole. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think Bailey did a great job with this promo. Even just the way she twisted the whole running away and from adversity into like running away from her problems and whatnot.
Hmm.
Great promo, and her ding dong hello reference was very good too today. I
Of
enjoyed it.
course.
So now we have the actual match, right? And it's a pretty good one.
Mm.
Bailey's working the arm most of the match, right? There's also a nice little spot early where like she does the ding dong hello and she's pulling on Bianca's hair, and this actually really upsets Bianca, and that's when Bianca really starts to take control. There's a lot of trash talking early on in the match as well. Bianca has a very nice drop kick and kick up moonsault straight sequence, which was really nice. In the later half of the match, Bailey has some more advantage because she keeps going back to the arm. There's a couple of pinning attempts, but Bailey's not really able to get the win. Bianca's able to bridge out, and although she's trying to hit a big move, her arm kind of comes into play again, and she's not able to execute it. And Bailey charges at her into the corner, and Bianca is able to dodge that. And this time, she's able to pick her up for the kiss of death and pick up a big, big, big win.
Yeah, I'm really happy that the right person won. But what does it mean for the feud? I mean, Bianca Belair has looked strong pretty much every single time she's squared off against Bailey in a non-wrestling format and a wrestling format. So is it over, or is it going to continue?
It's interesting. It's certainly not over now because on the stage, Kayla is out there and she's asking Bianca how it feels to have beaten Bailey and everything. And Bianca gives Bailey all the credit in the world as well. And she also mentions that no one can keep her from being herself. And she's just kind of overwhelmed with joy. She's very emotional about the fact that she's this is the biggest win in her career. She that's what she says. So it looks like it's definitely maybe over, but there's going to be some interaction in the Royal Rumble, I expect, because they're both in the match, as we know. Moving on, of course, we have a quick cut to AJ and Almost talking backstage, but we're not really sure what they're saying. We can't hear it, and Cesaro shows up, and they continue to talk amongst each other, but we don't know what they're saying. We have another match now with Baron Corbin and Dominic Mysterio.
I'm telling you.
Corbin makes his entrance and gets ambushed by Dominic Mysterio, and then when we come back from commercial, we have the match starting, right? And we find out that Rey Mysterio's on commentary. Graves is kind of like telling him, like, oh, is this what you teach your son, to ambush someone from behind? And Rey's like, yeah, that's what I did. And I thought this match was pretty good. It wasn't very long, but I think Corbin did a great job of making Dominic look like a legitimate fighter, had very good offense. Like, Corbin was using a lot of his strength to have Dominic do these crazy moves, like these DDTs, these Hurricanranas. There's a lot of interesting stuff, but most of the time it would come back to Corbin slowing down the pace with big heavy strikes and like taunting Rey Mysterio, like even walking around the ring, circling the ring, letting the count out go to 9 before coming back into the ring. Dominic tries to hit a 619 and Corbin catches him, but then Dominic counters it again, and there's a lot of like these false back and forth counters, of course, until we get to a point where Corbin's able to dodge a drop kick and hit the end of the day for the win.
Yeah, I mean, but I was gonna say, name a more iconic duo than Corbin and slowing down the pace.
There is no such thing. And I noticed that the Knights of the Lone Wolf are not there anymore. Like, I guess that's, I don't know if that's over. Murphy's gone. That's over. Was he, maybe he showed up on Main Event this week or 205 Live. I don't even remember. But
yeah. But after that match, though, Corbin does try to get a cheap shot in on Rey Mysterio, but Rey's
able to... It was really weird, too, right?
Yeah. Like, Rey's able to counter it, and he's just tending to his son. So I guess it's not over.
No, it's never, with Rey Mysterio, it's never over, except that feud with, what was it, Sami Zayn for like a week. But it was weird because, like, Rey was like walking to the ring to go check on his son while Corbin was there, kind of like not really looking at him, and Corbin obviously goes for this attack, and then it's like Rey noticed it and is able to counter him, send him into the post, and then go check on Dominic. So that was really cool. Moving on, we have a backstage segment with Big E and Sonya, and he's hyping her up. He's saying she looks great. He's going to bribe her because he really wants to know what his number in the Royal Rumble is, right? Mm-hmm. He has $1. She's like, this is just $1 bill. I think he had an Arby's coupon as well coming up, which, I don't know if she's a fan. Miz and Morrison are here, and that's okay, right? Because of the
quarterly
quarterly invitational thing.
I-95.
24/7, whatever. Adam Pearce is Miz wants to know where's Adam Pearce, and she just mentions that he's not he was kind of given a week off after inserting himself into a match with Paul Heyman last week. Miz kind of does the thing he does where he alludes that something crazy might happen, and he's interested in the Universal title picture because he's got money in the bank, and who knows what might happen. Morrison talks about how he's going to make a ton of money off GameStop, and he's explaining how short selling works, which was kind of nice, a good lesson for us all, given what's going on.
Of course.
Big E kind of laughs at them. They laugh at each other about winning the Royal Rumble, how neither of them can win, and then this turns into a big all-out brawl where Big E looks pretty good. He kind of is able to take them both down, but then like the referees show up, a bunch of staff members show up to like break this up. So I wonder if that's going to be the end of that. Probably not, right?
I don't know.
Big time.
I don't really know. Like, I used to be a fan of Miz and Morrison, and not anymore. I feel like they just kind of suck out the energy of every segment.
Nah, I still have my heart out for Morrison.
Me too. Like
Friday Night Delight.
I know. But hey, now we do have Sasha Banks backstage. And
looking like $1 million, right?
Looking like $1 million. Thank you for taking my line. And the sommelier Reginald is there.
Wait. First, Kalisto was there for like 30 seconds. I don't even know why, but
doing lucha stuff.
We gotta mention it, yeah.
And it seems that Reginald was flirting with Sasha Banks.
It looks like it, right? Like he comes in peace, right? He says he has a gift. It's from Carmella, of course. Big surprise there. Carmella wanted him to pick a bottle, right? The perfect bottle to go with her losing the title, which will happen eventually. We don't know if it's happening at the Royal Rumble yet, right? It might not be a match on the card. Sasha kind of likes him. She kind of like warms up to him. She's like, she's not sure if it's how he speaks French or his ability to select the perfect wine. Reginald seems very pleased with himself, right? And she asks if he freelances because she wants to know what the best wine she could get for Carmella, so she can drink with the broken jaw she's going to give her. Mm-hmm. Looks like Reginald didn't see that one coming at all. And Sasha makes this line might be a bit corny. I think she's like going to crush Carmella's dreams like she would crush or stomp on a grape. And Sasha has like this kind of evilish laugh. But anyways, she gives back the gift, the wine. She doesn't really want it, or the champagne, whatever it was. And she says that maybe Reginald should use a drink and could use the drink instead.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little development there.
Yeah.
Another backstage segment. Wow, right? This one features Shinsuke Nakamura, who's walking backstage, and who shows up? The savior, Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. And he's just babbling on. I love Sami, but he's just babbling on.
He manages to say a lot, but not a whole lot.
Exactly.
With a lot of words. It's great. He's kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Raw people are here. It's a conspiracy. What's up with Cesaro? You guys haven't been really talking. He doesn't mean to kind of like dig deeper, but he knows that Sami has a history with Nakamura, and talks about how he was this great liberator back when they, were like a unit, which was not that long ago, actually. But Sami wants his help. He needs his help. He wants his help to get the title back that he wrongfully lost. Biggie and Apollo are all involved, and he just can't. And like the management's against him, of course, as usual. And he goes as far to say that like Shinsuke's best work has been with Sami or because of Sami, right? All the way back to NXT when they had their big, amazing match where it was Shinsuke's debut, all the way to Shinsuke's IC title run. And he says that since Cesaro's doing his own thing, maybe it's time to help Sami Zayn have his back for tonight. And he asks if he can count on Shinsuke. And Shinsuke replies basically saying, I appreciate this, but go to hell. So the face turn is official.
I love Shinsuke.
If the new music didn't give it away, well,
the new old music, yeah, exactly.
The new old music, yeah.
So we do have a war of words between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns up next. They're both. It's kind of like the picture-in-picture sort of thing, and it got real. It got real personal. They were talking about they were talking about family and everything, and. It was pretty intense. Kevin Owens wasn't happy with some of the things that Roman Reigns told him. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, Paul comes in like KO says he's like what he's been saying the whole time, right? That Roman Reigns hasn't really beat him without the help of his family, but because of the last man standing stipulation, there's really nothing that's going to keep him down for the 10 count. Paul Heyman chimes in saying you should, treat the tribal chief with reverence and respect. Mm-hmm. And KO has a nice line. He's saying, so Roman, you're going to let Paul Heyman say the same thing about you that he said about all his previous clients, like the same shtick. And you can also see how annoyed Roman is. And I love how Roman like rolls his eyes back and is all like annoyed, like he's too good for this stuff. And now this is where Roman kind of starts to attack his family because he's trying to understand KO. Like he talks about his father, like, what kind of man was your father?
Yeah.
And KO obviously replies, he's a great man and all that stuff, but to watch where you're going. But Roman continues like, is he smart? Because he must not have taught you that I'm the tribal chief and you should know your limitations. You're not on the level here. This is not for you. You'll never be Universal Champion.
He was Universal Champion, but hey.
He was one of the first ones. Like, wasn't he like the third one? He calls Kevin Owens a pun, and I like the reference he makes to like the he's the king of the board. And like Owens is just simply a pawn. But it's not his fault. It's his family's fault because they didn't teach him right. And he's a fool for thinking he has a chance, and that means his father's a fool, his grandfather's a fool, and now Kevin Owens is getting really, really annoyed. And he says that, I know what you're trying to do, but on Sunday we'll be in the same ring. We won't be separated.
Yeah.
And, of course, Roman goes a step further and he says, well, like, you'll never understand. I don't understand why you don't understand. Maybe when you finally meet your grandfathers again, they'll make you understand. They'll say that you were a disgrace to your family for not acknowledging me as the tribal chief. going pretty far there. And this is where
Yeah.
Kevin Owens gets angry, basically says, I acknowledge you as a delusional jackass surrounded by a bunch of yes men, and you're just a bully, an insecure bully, rather. And then Kevin Owens goes to say, when he looks into the mirror, he sees someone that his family would be proud of. And on Sunday, when he looks in the mirror, he's also going to have a Universal title. But at this point, Roman has already cut off his feet, and his screen has turned to black, and Kevin Owens is still rambling, but at this point, he just kind of gives up with it.
Now the thing is, I do want to leave this for the prediction video, but do you think that there's any chance that Kevin Owens might win this?
I mean, there's certainly a chance. I don't know if it's a favor,
I want Kevin Owens.
If the odds are in his favor.
I want it just so badly. I want Kevin Owens to win, man. They have such good chemistry. This match is going to be insane.
I think it's believable, but I think the fact that it's a last man standing match, and maybe I should just stop right there and not give anything away, because then why watch a prediction episode? But I feel like that stipulation kind of doesn't do Kevin Owens any favors.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have our main event match. We have Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. Or is it? Or is that going to be the main event match? Because
I mean, it's 9:15 and this happens, and I'm like, is there something else happening after this? Because they didn't really advertise anything. So are we going to get a 40-minute classic here? Because dude, sign me up. But we didn't. We sort of did get a 40-minute classic, but not in the way you would think.
What was going on? What were they doing?
I don't understand what they were up to. It really just felt kind of lazy and overdone and dramatic. I know this is the go home episode to a Royal Rumble, so it's got to end with a bunch of dudes in the ring beating each other up, which it does. But how we got there, where it might have been the most unique thing, I've never seen it before. This starts off as a singles match, but just escalates, right?
Yeah, Cesaro comes into commentary. And then you have Sami Zayn that comes out with his documentary crew, and he's having a peaceful protest, and basically it's just him yelling. And I just love the fact that Corey Graves is still defending him and saying that he's just there, he's just having a peaceful protest. But to be honest with you, in ring wise, action wise, it was pretty solid, dude. It's AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. So there's they are going to give you some incredible wrestling, but I just think that everything else that was happening around
it kind of overshadowed it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit too much. Again, then we go to commercial, and then we're back into the commercial, and then Styles is really hammering on Daniel Bryan, and he's really working on him, and he's kind of he's basically having cornered up, and he's kind of working, and then when it's getting good, then you have Sami again with his justice sign, and he's just yelling at both men, and there's just so much going on. And I believe at that point, Daniel Bryan just kind of launches himself outside, right? Just knocking everyone down.
Well, that's after Big E shows up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my bad. Yes, Big E shows up.
He attacks Sami Zayn unprovoked, right? Corey Graves is in shambles. He sends Sami Zayn into the announcer table near Cesaro. This gets Cesaro upset. He's like, hey, what's your problem, man? And then Cesaro starts to attack him, and then Sami Zayn joins in on the fun, and that's when Daniel Bryan dives on both of them, right?
That's true. And this is where, kind of when Daniel Bryan goes back in, Sami Zayn hits the ring, and then he attacks Daniel Bryan, which causes the DQ. So I guess Daniel Bryan wins by disqualification?
He did attack him, yeah, so that makes sense. And then at this point, something is stirring up, right? You think something's going to happen, and then we come back from commercial, and it's a 6-man tag, right?
Yes. Bless me.
And everyone's confused here. We forgot to mention, of course, that Shinsuke did come out right before this happened. Once the DQ happened, Shinsuke came out. It's important because otherwise it doesn't make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Shinsuke comes out, he takes out Sami Zayn, and he takes out AJ.
And all 6 men are brawling, yeah.
He has a stare down with Cesaro, and before anything can happen, Sami attacks him. And then at this point, we come back from commercial, and it's officially a 6-man tag. And Shinsuke and Cesaro are right away up against each other. So if you were wondering if they were ever going to have any interaction, we don't wonder, because come back from commercial, and they're there, right? And this is pretty nice for them. But this felt like this part of the match was really weird, because it felt like we just had a commercial, and then there was 3 minutes of fighting, and then another commercial. Mostly Shinsuke Nakamura doing a sliding German suplex on Cesaro, and then Big E comes in, and he does a couple of good moves.
That was a really good sequence between Cesaro and Big E, though.
Yeah, I agree. They had some good double teams as well. But
this is my problem, though, because
everything's happening.
No, but
it's hard to keep up with.
But But this is what I hate because like it's getting good again, and you're like, all right, cool, like yes, it's a 6-man tag and it's fine, whatever. I'm having a great time, and then freaking Miz and Morrison come out.
Yeah, so obviously now the match kind of takes a turn, right? Because they're working on Daniel Bryan's leg for most of it, and it's all the heels just doing their thing. And as soon as Daniel Bryan gets the hot tag on Big E and he starts to have an explosive sequence with Cesaro where he's mostly taking control, and he hits the Uranagi, we obviously Miz and Morrison have to show up now because of what happened earlier. And they just attack Nakamura right away, and then they go into the ring and they cause a DQ, and you're like, okay. And the blue-collar man himself, Otis, shows up, right? And he comes charging to the ring, and he gets to have a bit of revenge on Miz and Morrison from last WrestleMania, even though he did come out on top there. Actually, no, that was even sooner. Who knows? I don't remember. I'm getting so confused now. That was against Dolph Ziggler. They're all the same.
Basically, now we have a 4 against 5. It's so chaotic.
I thought it would be a 10-man tag, right? Because I expected Gable. Daniel Bryan did mention Alpha Academy in the beginning of the episode, but it's actually 4 versus 5, right?
Pretty much.
Daniel Bryan still in peril here, working the leg, getting worked by everybody else.
Yeah, and he can't, and there's like no one for him to tag, right?
Yeah, because they take everybody out. The rest of the team attack the guys on the apron,
and now,
but then
out comes Sheamus because hey,
right? Why not?
Now it's a 10-man tag match,
and the bar is fully reformed here. It's like and Sheamus cleans house. Really, he takes everybody out. Sammy does try to get a roll up on Sheamus, but it doesn't work. He ends up hitting an Irish Curse backbreaker into the cloverleaf. And I think Cole was like, we've never seen that before. And I'm like, I think he did that last week. But regardless, everyone does their finisher on everybody. It's a weird sequence where I think it's not their finishers, but like at least a signature move. Morrison hits a kick, Otis hits a slam, Cesaro with a big stomp, Big E with a big ending. There was a Kinshasa, Blue Thunderbomb, hell of a kick into a bro kick. So Sammy goes for the hell of a kick, but Sheamus is able to turn that into a bro kick, and that's how he picks up the win. But it's not over, because even though the match is over, Miz and Morrison are right on Sheamus, and they continue to beat him up. And then
a return.
What? It's a return.
Underwhelming. I don't care, but underwhelming. It's a return of Braun Strowman.
It's Braun. I thought it was cool. We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
He looked in great shape, and he runs everybody over. But I noticed that he was really hitting the heels mostly. I think it was poor Cesaro who took like 3 of those slams, and I think he hit Sami Zayn. But it seemed like he didn't really. I don't remember him like really hitting Bryan or Otis or Shinsuke there. So, of course, Braun stands tall here. Is he a babyface? Perhaps, based on the fact that he hit the heels mostly, but who knows? And now, if you thought Daniel Bryan was going to win the Royal Rumble and he was a sure lock-in, you may be having some doubts here because Braun just showed up and kind of took the spotlight there.
And that's how SmackDown ends. Braun Strowman is basically, I guess, off his suspension, and Michael Cole even asked that question, like, is he declaring himself at the Royal Rumble? Seems pretty obvious. But that
Imagine if he's not. Yeah, that's why I said Gable wasn't here, because he's not in the Royal Rumble. That's the only way it makes sense, and that's why they kind of like shoehorn Sheamus.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, he's not here for the Royal Rumble. He's just he's just waiting for his turn for the Money in the Bank. He just wants to.
Well, he just got back. He probably didn't have a chance to declare himself. He's like, they'll be like, oh, that's but true. Braun, you're not in the Royal Rumble. You've been gone for the last 2 weeks. Like, oh, it's too late now.
So
no, he's in the Royal Rumble.
So that was the go home episode of SmackDown for the Royal Rumble. It was a weird, like, I mean, you really said it well at the beginning. It was a very weird episode of SmackDown. There was a severe lack of Billy Kay. I definitely missed Billy Kay in this episode. It was nice to see AJ Styles on SmackDown. It was nice to see AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for that little part, where there was actually some great wrestling, and then that just kind of faltered, and it became like a 3-on-3 to a 4-on-5 to a 5-on-5 to Braun Strowman coming out. It was just weird.
This might have been booked by Teddy Long, honestly. Like he would have loved this episode.
This could have, and I don't know. I feel like I'm still excited for the Royal Rumble. Again, it is my favorite pay-per-view of the year, I do enjoy the Royal Rumble more than the 6 hour WrestleMania that we have to sit through.
In 2 days, maybe.
Yeah, in 2 days, yeah. So again, I'm gonna leave a little surprise for my pick, but I do think that overall it was just an okay episode of SmackDown. Again, I definitely enjoyed Bianca Belair and Bailey, and I think I definitely have a pick in mind, for the women's Royal Rumble at least.
Well, you gotta have a pick for everything, right?
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise,
What did you
so
think of SmackDown?
I mean, I thought it was okay. Here's the thing: it's the go home episode for Royal Rumble. I don't really feel more excited for Royal Rumble, but I
Yeah.
was already excited for the Royal Rumble because it's the Royal Rumble, right? So they didn't really have to do much. But I admire them for trying something interesting. But like, I
Yeah.
feel like they just like we don't know what to do, so we're gonna have this weird escalating match
Right?
so just felt like the last hour, like yeah, we don't know
It
what
just
to
felt
do.
lazy, you know? It's like, oh yeah, we have all these, wrestlers. Yeah, cool, whatever. Let's just, 5-on-5, have Braun Strowman return, have people get excited. And sure, like, I mean, if you're a fan of Braun Strowman, yeah, that was a great ending for you. And you're like, oh, he's my pick. And he could be. He could be a decent pick. He can, if he's going to be a super babyface, he could go on and face Roman Reigns. Who knows? That could be an option as well.
He's never finished with Roman Reigns, right? That's what he says.
Exactly.
And
Um,
keep an eye out in 3 months if there's another quarterly invitational, because I feel like this was like a lazy thing that they did that's never going to happen again.
exactly. All right, well, guys, if you enjoyed SmackDown, that's great. And if you do enjoy our content, please make sure to subscribe and like our video. It goes a long way. And do look forward to our prediction video that's going to be up on Sunday, hopefully. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
I can't believe they did that. Like a 4-on-5 tag match. What was that? They couldn't put and then a surprise appearance. Like
I just don't understand. Like, I mean, it's a four
What
on
were they
five,
thinking?
and then Sheamus comes out of nowhere. Sheamus is not even in the match. That could
But apparently
that
he
would have
is.
been a
He could just
disqualification.
He could just accept the tag. Like as soon as who was it? Brian that slapped his hand for the tag. That should have been a DQ, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't know.
They just like to question our intelligence.
Mm-hmm.